listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is the magnificent Frank Skinner with... I don't give myself enough...
Adjectives?
Adjectives, yeah. I like adjectives.
Yeah, I do.
Is that what it was?
Sounds a bit
Right
rude.
word.
We'll carry on. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Simple as that. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Yes, fire.
Yeah.
Not scared of Latin this early. Okay, so that's bonfire night out the way.
Yeah.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
Not a fan.
Well, you know, I'm not a fan because it's a celebration of Catholic oppression, but I actually did go to a bonfire party, and I thought, what about this for a clever move? I went to one at a Catholic school. I thought they're going to take the edge off it.
Yeah.
And did they?
Well, what do they do? Do they throw a slightly reluctant party?
No, they burnt an effigy of the Reverend Ian Paisley. No, they didn't. They didn't. I would have walked out.
Yeah. You see,
Eventually.
Frank, I'm not a fan of the fireworks these days because of the puppy. He doesn't like the bonfire night. And also,
no, they don't like it.
my neck can't take it anymore either.
How does he feel about Catholic oppression, though? The puppy, is he fine
He's
with
got
that?
complicated views on that, which I'll
Right.
share with you afterwards.
Well, it's like when women go to Stringfellows.
Right.
I
Whoa,
think...
what's happening here?
No.
Perfectly nice chat about bonfire night.
No,
Stringfellas.
I think you articulated the exact thought. When women go to Stringfellows, people think, whoa, what's happening here? That's exactly it.
No, but it's like, that's how I feel as a Catholic going to a bonfire.
Yeah.
I just think, this is not really for me and I'm not sure I approve.
Yeah.
But here I am.
No, I understand what you mean.
But you do now, I've explained it. Okay, okay, let's just put our cards
mansplained it.
on the table.
The producer's got her mouth open in an O shape.
Well, we'll leave it there. But I've said, one thing they didn't do, they didn't have a guy.
There's
See?
no
Not
guy.
Frank.
If you don't have a guy, it's just a bonfire.
Sounds like Stringfellows.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't they have a guy?
Well, because they're trying to take that
The edge
aspect
off.
out of
Take
it.
the burning of people out of it.
Is it so it's a PC bonfire night?
Well, I don't know if it's more of an RC
Oh, lovely.
bonfire night. But I tell you what, I've said this to you before when I went camping, but I love a bonfire.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just watch one for an hour. I did watch one for about 40 minutes. It's a really lovely fire. Or as the French say, a bonfire.
Oh, yeah.
They're very
A tray
mesmerising.
Tray bonfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
And this was so hot because it was an absolute...
Oh, lovely.
This was at...
Was it a scorcher?
it was at St Edward's School in Cheltenham.
Right.
And it was all pallets. So
Oh.
get the air in there, really
Yeah.
roaring. And me and Boz, my 5-year-old child, stood transfixed, and I could feel the heat from it. We both looked a little bit like Sir Alex Ferguson at the end of it, but it was genuine.
I like Frank's description of discovering fire for the first time.
I know it's a late review. Fire.
Fire is hot.
It's hot and
Unwatchable.
slightly transfixing.
Yeah.
It has made me think. These people that burn down their schools and
Yeah.
stuff, which I've always thought that was unacceptable, and I still
Yeah.
think it is.
Mostly.
But now
Yeah,
I think
I'm with you there.
I could counsel them because I know the lure.
Right.
Well, Frank, this is why
Sun just
Peter the
fall back
Wild
on.
enjoyed the fires so much. And did you eat onions like Peter the Wild
Oh,
used
Peter the
to?
Wild! I thought you said Kim Wilde.
No.
I never
Peter
knew
the
that.
Wild.
Although she's a keen gardener, so she probably does have
Is
the
she
odd bonfire,
really?
doesn't
She probably does.
I didn't know
so.
Kim Wilde.
Peter the Wild, a friend of the show, he used to, that was one of his hobbies, wasn't it? He would stare at fires and
Yeah.
eat onions.
Eat onions and sing songs with no tune or something
I
like that.
maintain that he'd been to a hypnotist. I'm sure that. I mean, what you've described there is
Stage
somebody that's
hypnotist.
seen a stage hypnotist.
We should say that he was the sort of a member of the court of George the First, was he?
Correct.
As one of the Georges, I know. Peter the Wild. Unfortunately, there's an aspect in which he had to wear a leather collar, which to me has always drags the story down a bit. Before that, he's just a bloke who hangs out.
Right.
In the days when the royal family was somewhat crueler, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they were more upfront about
Yeah.
it. Who knows how many people are in leather straps at the palace?
You've got to wonder, haven't you?
Yeah. They've turned a few pages in their time.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Somebody that I used to know, got ye would be the headline.
Goiter, I thought it was.
If they'd
Did you?
sunk a battleship in medieval times, the headline in the Sun, ye oldie Sun, would have been got ye. Or maybe it's pirate sunk a battleship.
Got you.
Got ye. Yeah. Pirates. So,
I like that nostalgia for the pirates.
Yeah.
Do you
I'm
miss
not
them,
sure.
Frank?
I'm surprised they've become so popular with young children, considering their background.
Yeah. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't understand the full ramifications.
I don't think they do.
No.
Behind the pirates.
I suppose it's to get them used to
Yeah.
that they're
Well, they were
living in a
sort of-
world of variety, and people come from all sorts of backgrounds, and
I feel
you are what you are.
the
Yeah.
pirate had excellent PR. They were branded as these sort of fun pantomime characters.
Yeah. Well, in fact, they were ruthless in the extreme.
Quite a dark underside, wasn't there?
There
Yeah.
you go, another late review. That's fire and piracy we've covered this morning.
We're going to go right back to Adam and Eve today.
We're taking this decades thing now. It's the 5th century.
We're getting there, Frank.
So I'll tell you what. It wasn't just a bonfire. I don't think it was just a bonfire at St Edward's School.
There was no guy, there was no sort of pretend guy or like a different...
Do you mean
like a
no
novelty-
pretend guy as opposed to the normal real?
Well, what I mean is some people have a Guy Fawkes and some people have like a celebrity that's been in the news that they sort of, make
Do they burn?
Oh, they don't get
No,
burnt, do they?
They do, yeah.
I was going to say that'll be a big bonfire this year.
Yeah, it could be. That's
Spoiled
part
for
of my
choice.
concern.
I don't. What I don't like about the guy is the stomach area. Because what they
right.
do is they cram the legs full of, what is it, straw or
Newspaper, isn't it,
Newspaper,
generally?
yeah.
that sort of stuff.
But the stomach goes all baggy and loose. I don't like it.
Well, I can't. It's sort
There's
of
a
gone now.
hat on
Penny
it.
for the Guy has sort of gone, hasn't
Has
it?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been replaced by Trick or Treat, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But Penny for the Guy, I remember a lasting image of my childhood is those kids who couldn't be bothered, and they used to. You'd often see a teddy bear with a jumper on, and people saying a penny for the Guy. I thought,
Or
I
just a
think so.
mate. Did
I think
that
that's your
ever
brother's
happen?
jumper and teddy bear.
I have a memory of somebody just putting a mate in a wheelbarrow and saying that was the guy. And you go, you can't do that. There needs to be a made thing that's going on the
Well, I would
fire.
have taken them up on it and said, well,
Yeah.
is he going to be burnt?
I want to see him.
Do you think
burned.
Guy Fawkes' mates did that? How
he have any?
early did he get out? If they went out a penny for a guy with the, let's face it, mutilated corpse via governmental torture of Guy Fawkes, would people have said too soon? Considering he was like a public hate figure, Guy Fawkes,
Yeah.
how long did they have to leave before they could start asking for
Penny.
Yeah.
for a penny for
Penny
him?
for the guy.
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
These are good questions.
Someone will know. Someone will know the history of begging in England.
Yeah, someone will have done a dissertation on it, which
That'd be
I
a
had
good
now.
book. I wouldn't mind reading that, begging. Special section on dogs.
Yeah.
You know, that sitting up with the hands out thing. I say hands,
Yeah, you do.
but not strictly speaking. That.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I've often wondered. Is it okay to call those things, they have sort of elbows, dogs.
The dogs, oh yes.
Little-
Mine's got lovely elbows.
Little like little ping pong ball elbows.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Are they elbows or are they
called
knees?
elbows?
They're joints, aren't they?
Oh.
But can you have an elbow if you don't have an arm?
Oh.
That's a very good question.
Well, 8, 12, 15.
Frank
Frank Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
That was You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. I bet her dad was called Alun.
Oh, yeah.
One of those egomaniacs who has to name the kids after himself. And if
Yes.
it's a girl, he thinks, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then he changes it to and just makes up Alanis.
Well, I've
Yes,
done
the
that.
Victorian tradition. Ernestina.
Is that a real
Yeah.
name?
What
Yeah.
about George Foreman? I think had 8 kids and they're all called George or Georgette or Georgina.
That was brilliant,
Yeah.
though.
Brilliant.
Alan. It would have been Alan. It's Alan. You get that on the X Factor, a very run-of-the-mill name called out in a dramatic way.
What do you mean?
It's Alan.
What do you mean run-of-the-mill name?
Oh, sorry.
You know I'm here,
Sorry,
don't
I
you?
forgot.
That my name's Alan.
You don't get many babies called Alan these days.
No.
Whoa.
There's
No,
a
I'm just being
there's a
honest, you
kid
don't.
There's a kid in my son's class called Alan. He's only 5.
All of my kids are called
respect.
Alan. Alan Jr. and Alanis. That's what I've got.
Next gen.
Yeah, next gen. Hey, Frank, you've lit up the switchboard with,
With
your
your
discussion
elbows.
of dog's elbows.
Dog's elbows, open brackets, question mark, close bracket.
Yes.
They've gone elbow crazy. Guy Garvey's ears will be burning.
People are interested, and I think it's one of those things where they know the answer. And we've heard from many vet nurses.
Yeah.
I'll round it all up into one informative one. 231 has texted, they are still classed as elbows as it is based on the bones that make up the joint, the elbow joint being the radius, ulnar and humerus.
So, but doesn't that make their legs, arms?
I think
Not according to these veterinarians.
Okay.
the elbow's in the foreleg. No, the elbow is the joining of those bones, which can be in their legs, I guess.
See, I once read a thing. I think it was about Hitler. I think I'm not making this up for effect. It was in the Daily
lovely.
Mail,
Right.
and it said that he died in the arms of his Alsatian.
Blondie.
Yes.
And I thought, well, are they arms?
Paws.
But-
He died in the paws
Well,
of his
the
Alsatian.
paw's on in the extremity, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole thing isn't the paw.
Yeah.
But if you said that Hitler had died in the legs of his Alsatian, suddenly it's
That
a
would be
different,
That's a very
rear
different
ends.
it's a
story.
That
different
would be
image
Blondie's rear end, yeah.
altogether. Of course,
Yes.
the elbow wasn't such an important joint in Nazi Germany.
No.
Oh, lovely.
They tend to go for the straight arm.
So are we suggesting here that dogs have front arms and back legs?
Front arms,
Is that what we're saying?
The dog's arms.
back arms would be a good thing to have.
Oh, I'd love
I
that.
suppose chimpanzees have got back arms.
Do they?
Oh,
They've got hands.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a complicated. Anyway, I can say a dog's got an elbow. It's official.
I think you can, yeah.
Okay.
I think they've got more than one, in fact.
You know what? I will.
Pirates, fires, the physiology of the chimp.
Yeah.
I love this morning.
I had to go at, you know that you have stalls at these now at the bonfire events. So I had
What
to
sort
go.
of stalls?
Well, in the one I had to go on, you had to throw. You remember those robber chickens that used to feature a lot in any sort of comedy thing? They used to be on
Spitting
Tiswas.
Image, I think. Didn't they utilise
Yeah,
them, I think?
yeah. You
A
had
chicken song.
You had to throw one of them into a bin,
Okay.
and then you could pick a prize. So there was you had 3 goes. So Boz had a go at a couple of stalls, and it hadn't gone well. And I thought, this is the moment. What do you do? He wants a prize, but I want him to join in. Who actually throws the chickens? So in the end, we agreed I throw the chickens, so he could get
the prize,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I threw first chicken straight in the bin.
Great.
Oh,
One from one.
so proud of you.
Second chicken straight in the bin.
Oh,
Come on.
come on.
Third chicken just hit the edge.
Oh,
Foul throw.
oh, foul throw.
Thank you. But do you know, all night, even though I only got one prize.
So hang on, did you have to get?
Star Wars panoramic jigsaw.
That's not bad.
Did you have to get all 3 chickens
No,
in the
you only
bin?
had to get one in.
Oh, come on, you did
But-
brilliantly.
Double
Now
bubble.
you say that, but all night, the one I didn't get in
Just
was
in
on
your
my mind.
Yeah.
One
Even
got
though I
away.
only needed one. Completely ignoring the advice of Meatloaf.
Right. Yes.
That 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But no, it really... Oh, I just kept thinking, it's just... If I I
Yeah.
wasn't holding it right. You know what? I got two in, I got
Didn't
complacent.
get set up. Yeah.
And you wouldn't get an extra prize, but I just if my son had seen me get 3 chickens in the bin.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's why you got the big bucks.
I wasn't even there, and I feel like I'm going to replay that moment all the rest of this show.
The one that didn't
Frank
get, the one that
just
got
missing
away.
the chicken in the bin.
I think Meatloaf was thinking about the fact that he left one of the pies. one of the 3 pies he'd been given.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Did you think that Meatloaf, that he
Mention-itis.
that he feels that vegetarianism isn't really an option for him?
What, with the name?
Yeah, because wouldn't
Yeah.
it be... there must probably a time in his life when he's thought, he's maybe seen someone slaughtered. And he's thought to himself, oh, that's appalling, I'll give up meat. And then he's thought, oh, I can't really.
I can't change my name to Nutloaf.
No, exactly.
Painted himself into a corner in some way. Yeah, that is
A
shame.
meat corner.
I
such a
love
thing
a
as-
meat corner.
Is there a vegetarian meatloaf? Is that a thing?
Well,
It's
not
vegetarian
Nutloaf.
everything now, isn't there?
I think the not cutlet is what you're after.
Sounds like it'd be all
I'll
right.
tell you what was brilliant. There was a magician on at the magic show, and as soon as they said to me there's a magician on, I thought I would not go on to perform at this for, well, I'm trying to think of something I haven't performed.
At the bonfire, there was it.
So there was a tiny stage where they had like a DJ, and then they said, we got a magician in a minute. I thought, oh, my heart goes out to him.
Hang on, so this was outside? Or
Yeah.
was the bonfire inside?
Outdoors.
Okay.
No, it was all
Okay.
outdoors.
Outdoors and with a huge fire as a backdrop.
Outdoors. Well, they hadn't lit the fire at this stage.
Oh, okay.
Can't compete with the fire.
I was just thinking it would steal focus. You know,
I was thinking
they're
that,
very
you know,
watchable. as you've
they've
discussed.
got no effigy. If I was him, I'd be. So he came on, and
Did he have music?
Whenever I don't think he did. Whenever I go to these events like kids' parties, my heart breaks for the performers if they're not.
Yeah.
And the kids were a bit cheeky, and he said a few times, you know, when people they don't completely keep up the facade of showbiz. He said, you know, I was expecting a much bigger stage than this. He said that a couple of times, and you think, oh no, you got to keep that inside.
Don't reveal the tragic underbelly.
No, but and these kids were getting like, you know, a bit cheeky with him, and I have to say there's something very compulsive about suppressed rage when it's combined with a colourful waistcoat.
Yes.
He had a waistcoat with stars on, and which is, you know, all about life and vitality. And he was, well, I can't believe this is happening. But he battled on bravely. God bless him. But I wanted to get him and say, come on, people.
Were the tricks good?
I don't remember.
You don't remember,
I don't remember
okay.
the
Well, there
tricks.
you go.
No, I think they were all right. There was lots of, you know, it's coloured handkerchief.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
I think there was nothing wrong with his act. It was unwise.
And
Good for the children, though, that sort of thing.
the headline act was a hard one to beat. The bonfire.
a fire.
But the problem is, he said, right, there's going to be they're going to light the bonfire, and then I'll be back on.
Oh.
And he didn't come back.
You can't follow a fire.
No.
Not in show
Tough act
business.
to follow. Can you
Very
imagine going on at the
difficult.
Comedy Store after a bonfire?
Not at all. Awful.
No, it's
Hard enough after a
People are
music
too-
act.
people are going to miss that. They're going to be expecting you to generate a certain amount of heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did though. So many people out there, you know, slogging a living on stage.
Yeah.
There ought to be some sort of a home.
What, for entertainers?
Yeah, I think there is, isn't there,
There
for
is
retired
one.
entertainers?
There's a lovely one, actually.
Have you been there?
No, I haven't, but we have some friends who went there.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Lovely story.
I should think there'll be a few vacant rooms there.
They do have in this home, they have stars on the in each bedroom.
Oh,
nice.
brilliant.
Which is lovely.
On the doors, do
Yeah,
you mean?
stars on the doors.
Great. Well, that's something for me to look forward to.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were still at the bonfire night.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, I was having a conversation with someone this week at the theatre before my show.
Lovely.
And we had a bit of a
Oh, yeah.
spot the ball.
Oh.
Does that still
love that.
exist?
I don't
Yeah.
think it does. I don't think.
It was absolutely a central part of my growing up.
Massive. Big
Well, the
deal.
producer has just mouthed, "What is it?"
What is Spot the Ball?
Yeah.
Spot the Ball used to be a picture of a football,
Yeah.
a sort of wide picture, like of a football
Little
match
Woods, I think,
taking
did it.
part. And you got, I think it was 10 X's, or you got
Yeah.
more X's depending on how much money you paid. And you would mark where you thought the ball was.
Yeah.
Now, the idea was that it had been, this was, I don't know what they call Photoshop in the 70s, but the idea is that they'd taken out the actual ball and you had to guess where
they'd
it
removed
was,
the ball.
judging from your football knowledge and where
Yeah.
people... But Robert, who lived next door to me,
Oh, yeah.
he absolutely maintained that the ball was in the picture and that you had to study it religiously to find
Did he
it.
never complete one?
He honestly had a magnifying glass, and it was always a fan's head that he'd say, "Look, there it is. It's just a lot." No, that's a fan's head.
Yeah. The ball's wearing glasses.
But he was he was absolutely insistent that it was cool. I mean, to be fair to him,
Yeah.
Spot the Ball
called
does
Spot the
suggest
Ball.
that it is there.
Yes. Yeah, really, the game should have been called Replace the Ball or Find the Ball.
Well, you're
that we've
using an
removed.
X as well. You're not even putting a spot.
Exact
Obviously,
number.
cross the ball is going to be just confusing.
Yeah.
But it was strange because, as you say, you would imagine it required some basic football knowledge, but it was mainly nanas who did it,
Yeah, it was. And
who
of
in
course,
those days weren't such big frequenters.
I remember it was a common debate amongst people about whether it was actually the ball was in the picture at all, if it had ever been in the picture.
That's a conspiracy theory up there with the Kennedy.
Somebody told me
it?
they just ran at the Sports Argus, which was our local sport. They just had a long needle, which they ran through it and through all the entries. And if there's any cross that fell exactly on where the needle had gone through, they won.
That's
I like the
great.
person who bothered to come up with that conspiracy
Yeah, I
theory.
want to know what happened to that. What happened to the Spot the Ball needle? Surely that would be in some sort of journalism museum,
Yeah.
along with my Spotted in Heat this week.
That's the kind of thing that
Frank Skinner getting into a car in Camden.
Is that a genuine heat story?
These are the
Were you in
people who produced the Watergate expose. Yeah, so I'll Spot the Ball. It's
Yeah.
very old. It was before I think it started in ancient Rome.
Oh, yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Spot the Gaul. It was
Very
called.
good.
It'd be a picture of the Roman marketplace.
Yeah.
No, but it was... hold on.
Are you having a scratch,
I got one of
darling?
me itches.
You have
yeah.
a scratch. I'll read you a text.
Go on.
We had a confirmation of my theory that in the 70s. I'll tell you it. 377 has texted, "Morning, Frank. We put my sister in a pushchair in the 70s and dressed her like a guy, as in a penny for the guy. Just took her out as a human statue, if you like,
Oh, I see.
and knocked on doors, penny for the guy." So I was right. I'm sure
Well,
it
that's
used
just
to be.
straightforward
Yeah.
begging.
I'm sure it used to be a kind of a laziness. I can't be bothered to make a guy, but I've got a person in a sort of a... And we've also had a text from 629 saying, "Pirates were egalitarian and voted for their captain and were consulted on their raids."
Oh, okay. Was it
Didn't know
a
that.
show of hooks?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, dear. I bet there was a lot of empty beds in the coma ward during Penny for the Guy.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Follow the show on Twitter @Frank on the Radio or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We're talking about Spot the Ball this morning on Absolute Radio in the year of our Lord 2017. Ian Bottrell has been in touch. Spot the Ball on motorcycles still going strong in Motorcycle News Monthly.
That is a fabulous piece of inside information.
Never seen that.
Well, I've got it right in front of me.
I mean, I've occasionally flicked through Motorcycle News, but not Motorcycle
I might
News Monthly.
retweet it on our social so our readers can see it.
So there's a picture of the actual... I didn't even know it was a sport, football.
Well, I don't quite
on
get it. There's some. It looks to be something of a retro picture, and they're on these bikes, and there's a ball in the middle. It's extraordinary. Anyway,
So is it people
it's a
playing
visual
football
thing.
on bikes?
I
You
don't
think
really
that's what it could
understand it.
be?
They're kicking the ball around using the wheels of the bikes.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah.
sounds dangerous. Could you ask the gentleman to reply and make it clearer what he's talking about? Is that possible?
And also in other news, another reader called Charlie72. My neighbour won Spot the Ball when we were kids, £111,000 and 2 cars.
Whoa.
She gave every kid
And 2 cars.
and
Wow.
2 cars. She gave every kid £1 or a chocolate orange.
That is amazing.
That must have
Chocolate
been
orange.
Was it a closing down sale at Spot the Ball? They got 2 cars. What about them 2 cars? Give her them as
chuck
well.
'em in.
What are we going to do with her? 111 grand and 2 cars.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Chocolate orange
great.
is such a great 70s gift to give
Or a
people.
quid.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
But you know what I like about that story is that it doesn't sound like there was a lot of resentment about the 111 grand and the 2 cars. It sounds more like there was gratitude about everyone in the street got a quid. That's great, isn't it? Whereas now
Or a
people would be like,
segment.
What did she do with the 2 cars? Do you think she extended a strap from each of the steering wheels and rode between them like Boudica?
put one of them on
their own,
tour.
like with a foot on each.
No, she would have kept them, Frank, like Lotto Lout. They just keep them in the front and then
Oh,
work
yeah.
on them endlessly.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Drive it around the grounds. That's not the only Spot the Ball winner we've heard about. 995 has texted, Spot the Ball. Wasn't Spot the Ball a case of gambling on an event that had already taken place, illegal, and therefore a panel of experts had to decide where they thought the ball was most likely to be was what had to be matched?
Yeah, but how did they get that big picture of a football match with people leaping in the air with no ball on it?
They just removed.
Well, that's what I think.
They removed it.
They
I think
removed
it was
the
all a
ball, I
scam.
think.
Sue
And then
me.
the experts had to guess, and the people had to match to that guess. But he then continues, or she, oh no, it is a he. I knew 2 people in the 1970s who won. One guy won 100 grand and another 70
Who are
grand.
these Spot the Ball millionaires?
And then he says, which
I
given they
didn't know
were...
it was this kind of money, I must
No,
say.
me neither.
I thought they were. Well, Sam in Sutton said in the 70s my mum won £500 on Spot the Ball and we received a begging letter from a lady in Liverpool. Yeah.
Actually,
She wanted a slice of
begging letters.
What was she begging for? A slice of chocolate orange? Is that
I'll
what
put
it-
them in my history of begging. That'd be one of the volumes.
I
There's
know.
dogs.
begging letters.
Frank, begging letters
Dogs.
for 500 nicker. Come
Who
on.
was the other? What was
Is
the
it
other
too late
begging?
to get this
what
out
was the
before
other
Christmas?
begging section?
I mean,
that
I've
we
got
had?
Guy
25
Fawkes.
quid in my
Fawkes.
purse. I'm going to be getting a begging letter.
Yeah, a begging letter. Isn't that? I mean, it's the letter. The people. I suppose people get begging emails now.
Yeah, I imagine.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank
anyway.
you, Sam in Sutton. We enjoyed that.
That's one of my favourite ever. Whatever happened to.
Begging letters.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I've had a bit of, don't panic, I had a bit of a blub this week, but it was controlled crying, and it was nice crying, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a teary moment after watching the John Lewis ad. Have you guys seen that, the new Christmas John Lewis ad?
We're just thinking how expensive Christmas is going to be. That's
No,
my
because
teary
I'm not
moment.
you. It's called, I found it quite moving. It's called Moz the Monster, and it's got a monster. He's a sort of Gruffalo meets Sesame Street meets Monsters Inc. He's a hybrid, isn't he?
There's a element of Honey Monster about him as well, I would say.
Yeah.
Bit of all of it, isn't it? I mean, we're not saying that it's unoriginal, but it is based on every monster ever.
What can I say on its unoriginality? The song that it uses is
They always have a whimsical cover of something.
I know,
a
but
Beatles song,
but
isn't
the
it?
idea, surely the skill is to pick a whimsical cover of an old hit that hasn't been used in another children's thing.
Right.
Isn't that the idea?
I think so.
Whereas Golden Slumbers, once there was a way to get back home,
See, that's what makes me cry.
heavily featured in Sing. The
Oh,
kids'
yes.
film.
You're right. I
It's-
forget
it-
how much you've watched that recently.
Well, yeah, but it's the animated version of I'm having that.
It is.
But
It is.
you got to avoid something that's that
Yeah.
big in Sing.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
7 million it cost them.
What?
It's sad. Well, how
God,
much
what
do you
kind
have
of
to
daily
pay?
rate was that monster on?
I was going to say, one guy, he
The
must be
actors
on
are only on about 210 quid a day, equity.
Oh, he
I
must
mean,
be on equity
what?
minimum. He doesn't say anything. He's just in that
Goodness
costume.
me.
It was 2 men in the costume, apparently.
2?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't want to know what happened in there.
Really? So it's like a
come out
pantomime
in 15
horse
years.
type monster.
Yeah.
So was it on the shoulders thing? Like when in...
A couple of acrobats in there.
Can you,
know,
imagine the stench in there?
You know
Oh.
when in films people... kids try to get into an adult thing and they wear one big overcoat and the other one on the shoulders. It's like that.
And some minor CGI. But the majority of it, it was 2 blokes.
Oh.
Sorry to ruin it for any children listening to
Can I
this.
tell you,
Get back to bed.
I've got one major problem with it.
Go
Right.
on.
And that, although I've been a man in the past who has used saucy material, one thing I've never liked
I know what you're gonna say.
is the windbreaking
No, I know.
references.
Me neither.
And the monster breaks wind, and it's quite a big moment in the thing. And so we've got people now breaking wind on primetime
What do you
television.
say, people?
Well, there's 2 blokes in there. What about the other one? Unless they've got some sort of 2-part harmony going on,
I mean, we
which
don't
is
know.
very hard
At
to...
that point, as a viewer, we don't know there's 2 blokes in there. That's some
No.
behind the
but if
curtain
I'm,
info that
but
we've got.
I'm looking back.
I
Yes.
did
honestly-
blanch a bit when I saw that as
I
well.
hate it. I wish they hadn't got... I really
What, the
hate
flatulence
it.
humour?
I do,
What did
yeah.
you think of it, Al? I don't like flatulence on telly.
I had less of a problem with the flatulence, but I
Oh,
guess we've
come
all
on.
got our moral compass.
But
That
you know
some
what
of
I'd
it
say?
points
You know
different.
my motto? Broken wind, broken Britain.
That is your motto, and you do say it often. I mean,
Yeah.
almost during every song. But
I tell you why I don't like it, Al, is it is a bit... You know, Frank always says when people go cheap and go loud, when their act's not doing very well or something.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that, isn't it? Bring out the flatulence
Yeah,
in the place of a
exactly.
joke. Come on.
it reminded me of a very good children's book called Not Now, Bernard. Have you read that?
I don't think I have.
It's
No, I've read-
absolutely brilliant. The kid comes in and says to the mum and dad, "There's a monster in the garden. It's going to eat me." And the parents are like distracted parents. They're reading the paper, and he goes, "Not now, Bernard." And then the monster eats him. That's spoiler alert for anybody that's
I think if
not read it.
if Bernard Manning had lived,
Yeah.
it's a sentence we'd have heard quite a lot during his act.
But I would highly recommend the book.
And a
Not
great
Now.
autobiography title for him.
Yes, yes.
I mean, also, the narrative of this advert, as I understand it, is that this kid can't sleep because there's a monster snoring under his bed and making various other noises. We won't go into
the
it.
monsters.
Right.
So it keeps him awake, so the kid can't... His studies are suffering.
Yeah.
His sport, because of
Yeah.
He falls
fatigue.
asleep in goal.
Yeah. So he's...
Ian Walker.
It's causing fatigue, the
Monster.
the monster's snoring. And then the monster, for a present, buys him a sort of twinkly globe to help
A
him
nightlight.
to sleep.
Which I think coincidentally is probably available at John Lewis.
Yeah, probably.
Sold out already, loves.
Oh.
So that gets him to sleep, and then he looks under bed. The monster has gone, as if the monster's job is done now. But if the monster's job was to get him to sleep, it was the monster that was keeping him awake.
Good point.
Also, can
makes
I
no
just say,
sense.
as someone with abandonment issues, I think it's horrible the way the monster just leaves him. Why can't you talk about it? I mean, maybe they could have compromised
He
and
was
said...
never really a chatty monster, though, was
No,
he?
but come on now. He was up late at 1 a.m. playing battleships with him. Why couldn't he just say, look, maybe we'll just have an earlier night tonight? Why leave and never come back? Horrible.
No, goodbye, nothing. I've written an article about this in tomorrow's Sunday Times
Oh, yeah.
called Eats, Bright Winds and Leaves.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
844 has texted, the North Wales Daily Post used to run a Spot the Sheepdog competition with a picture of a cowering sheep.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
Spot the sheepdog.
And then
And you'd be able to tell from the sheep's body language if you knew your... if
you knew your sheepdoggery.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sheepdoggery.
You knew your sheepdogging, yeah.
Lisa said, my mom, she says,
Mom?
Americanisation's creeping in. My mum used to play Spot the Ball every week in the 80s. I think the Pools man used to collect the entry each week. It was very serious. She even bought a rubber stamp with the maximum amount of X's on it, as they were smaller, and then you could draw them. The aim was apparently to get the middle of the... You had to get the middle of the X in the centre of the ball. Very difficult.
There's got to be...
Very difficult, added.
Very cruel.
There's got to be a documentary in this about Spot the Ball.
That would be great. There's been many texts about this rubber stamps. 472 has
Never heard of
texted,
that.
My dad had a rubber stamp, an inch square with 100 crosses on to use in Spot the Ball. He won nothing. Either he was, I'm going to edit, either he was rubbish at finding the ball or the rubber stamp wasn't allowed. I think he was rubbish.
What's the rubber stamp?
But you heard of these professional gamblers who can work out a system with
Card
roulette
counting and stuff, yeah.
multi-X Spot the Ball system. Marvellous.
Yeah. Well, as Raymond says, my mother suspected it was a scam. And some guy at the newspaper just picked a random winner out of the pile of entries.
You could get away with
Raymond,
that kind of
full
thing,
name, please. No Ray.
Good for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I like him for that.
Yeah. I wonder if it's Mr. Teasy Weezy Raymond, the celebrity hairdresser from the 1960s.
Just while we're doing a Whatever Happened To.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, speaking of whatever happened to.
Whatever happened to...
Shopping days.
Shopping days.
What you used to get this time of the year was you used to get a constant lowdown on how many shopping days to Christmas.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And what it was all about was it allowed for Sundays,
Yes.
which weren't shopping days.
Of course not.
So it would. There was a feeling that your layman couldn't make this sort of calculation. It's like the Catholic Church didn't used to let people read the Bible on their own
Yeah.
in case they misinterpreted it. So people would say stuff. It would say like, and there's, now remember, there's 26 shopping days to Christmas.
Yeah.
And your dad or someone say, 20, I thought there was more. Surely there's more. Oh, I forgot the Sundays.
Yeah.
It was a regular thing. I haven't heard it for now because every day is a shopping day.
It is.
Well, also no internet.
And in fact, the middle of the night is sometimes the shopping
Do
day.
whatever you
That is
like.
absolute.
Oh, in the middle of the night, I keep walking in my sleep
It's a
to
good
the
song.
river of doubt. The river of doubt. I've had many a dip in there. Have you seen the Paddington Christmas advert?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the advert yet.
He reforms a burglar. Much
Oh.
Well, he does.
Much neater narrative.
With the red tight on his head.
Yeah, it all works out.
Stocking he's got.
So much.
The first one was
story
very good.
is more solid. It's got a familiar, lovable character, not this mysterious, flatulent monster.
Not now
thing.
Bernard style monster.
Exactly, not now, Bernard.
Yeah, but that is directed
I said to
by...
my mother-in-law, not now, Bernard.
It's the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind director they hired.
No.
That's why it was so expensive, the
You're
John Lewis.
joking,
No.
mate.
It was not
And
him.
apparently, he said, when I told my ex-girlfriend I was doing the next John Lewis Christmas film, she said, you have big shoes to fill. It's got to make people cry. He said, last week I showed it to her and she cried. Well, I think that was because her ex-boyfriend turned up saying, hey, look how well I'm doing now, 7 million.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a few complaints about the breaking wind on the John Lewis adverts.
People agree.
People think
agree.
it's indicative of a slip in standards in
I
humour.
agree, I tell you. Broken wind, broken Britain. Let's make that a slogan we can march together on.
Yeah.
It really did make me think, you know what, I'm not going to John Lewis this Christmas.
What, never again? Oh, just this Christmas.
Just want to let till the smell's cleared. No, I thought, no, that's just cheap and easy and Get
How
lost.
dare you? Dan Pierce, Frank, says surely the cheaper option would have been getting some Robbie Fowler-esque breathing strips to stop the snoring rather than an expensive globe.
Good point.
He sounds like he's cut from your cloth, Al.
Yeah.
But do they make one that could fit a after you burn it type monster?
Yeah, and also it would be sticking to hair, presumably. He'd have a hairy nose, the monster.
Well,
Not
I think
now,
it might be
Bernard.
like a koala that's got the hair, and then suddenly, as soon as
his
you
face.
hit nose territory, nothing grows there.
Did you not find the facial characteristics of the monster appealing?
Oh,
No, there was something unnerving about
There's a
the
question.
nose.
Oh, goodness.
Frank is very put off by the flatulence.
I just don't.
Yeah, I understand.
I hate the advert.
Oh,
God.
too
What about
much. Too much.
No? Paddington.
Too much.
Bang goes
Love
my
Paddington.
discount.
I'm not
Looking forward to a
saying
nice
Paddington
discount.
didn't break wind, but he was outside for most of the thing, and we didn't.
Why don't
Oh,
John
And he
Lewis,
wore a coat. He
Yeah.
wasn't naked.
Why don't John Lewis do an honest advert where they say never knowingly undersold, asterisk, except on the internet, which we've got a blind spot about. You know, they boast about they're never knowingly undersold.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you both look very, really
No, I know,
surprised.
I know
by
this.
this.
There
I'm
used
not
to be
surprised.
there used to be an England cricketer called John Lewis, and they used to say never knowingly underbowled.
Oh, very
About
good.
him.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that. It's the first moment of affection I felt for cricket, I think.
Anyway, what else? Not now, Bernard.
I love if that's your new catchphrase.
Very taken with this.
Well,
Say anything a bit off colour.
Al, can we talk about P. Diddy?
Who?
Well, he's not called P. Diddy anymore, is he?
Who on earth are you talking about? I don't know anyone called P. Diddy.
Okay, he was P. Diddy.
He was P. Diddy.
Prior to that, he was Puff Daddy.
He was Puff Daddy.
Currently, he's known as...
Brother.
I know.
Yeah,
Love, a.k.a. Brother Love.
yeah. Simply
AKA.
Love
Yeah.
or Brother Love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he's gone for.
You see, I know...
He's changed his name.
Oh, and then some. He's
We
changed
know
his name
that
several times.
AKA is also known as, though, but I
Yeah.
think he actually wants that. To me, that's part of his name, the AKA.
You sure?
Yeah, like Akabilk. I think Love, a.k.a. Brother Love, is the name.
Is it?
Oh,
I thought the
no.
producer had written AKA.
I think it's...
He's Simply Love or Brother Love. But he announced it on a YouTube video and he said, I have some very serious news. And I liked when he said it could come off as a bit corny. Which is
Self-aware.
also quite a British expression, corny, isn't it? Quite 80s. Who uses that?
But you know, when we were talking about the show as a sort of Nostradamus type theme,
Yeah.
Do you remember last week I was talking about it would be worth being friends with Courtney Love? So that
Yes.
every time your phone rang, you could sing "It Must Be Love."
Yes.
Now you could be friends with Love, aka Brother Love.
You can sing it then.
Yeah, and say it go. It must be love, aka Brother Love.
Brother Love.
Da-da-da.
Imagine being friends with Love,
Brother Love,
aka
AKA Brother Love.
Well, it's going to be tricky
What,
for
what
him
do you think
to...
the Christmas present for me?
Yeah.
Very white round neck jumper.
But the big concern there for him now that he's changed his name is that when he's going to be signing his Christmas cards, and when they say, where formerly they would have said Love P. Diddy, they're now going to say Love Love.
Oh yeah, Love,
Well,
Doesn't make
aka
any
Brother
sense.
Love.
I'll
Oh.
tell you what you can get him. They're a little bit basic. A cushion with love on it. They're everywhere, those
Oh,
things.
wow.
You
aren't
know
they?
what? I've
What
got,
about those
I've
little
got one.
signs?
I've got one.
It's going to be very easy to buy for.
You're
sorted.
We've established they're a bit basic. But I've got
Ouchie, this is so uncomfortable.
I've got a cushion with love on.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've got one with
And the
hate
dry
on.
cleaners just said they can't do anything about it.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Still eating.
No, I wasn't. That was what are you talking about.
Sorry, we're not telling you off.
I feel told off.
I'm just passing on that somebody said, I worry about the Ray Jars
No,
all week in
I-
between shows. I just do nothing
I
but...
worry about the Ray Jars.
I just
ever
think Ray
since.
Jar, Ray Jar, Ray Jar. Especially when we're riding
No, I was
high
on-
after
I was
our
on about
recent
the-
award win.
I was on about the former rulers of India. Do you think that P. Diddy
Who?
felt that he was restrained. The way I said, I suggested that Meatloaf felt he couldn't be.
Painted into a corner, yeah.
Yeah.
So that now that he's not P. Diddy anymore, he feels that he can once again urinate on a grand scale.
Yeah,
But-
maybe that's what it is.
When he announces it in the YouTube announcement, he says, I decided to change my name again. As if there's a sort of inevitability about it. As if he's afflicted with some disorder that forces him to change his name regularly.
I think you might have hit the nail right on the head there, because I sort of wish I'd changed my name, but I'm also indecisive.
I know
so I
what
think
you
if I
mean.
did it once,
Alun!
I think I'd change it every couple of weeks, probably.
Really?
Yeah, if you change it once,
Look.
you're changing it all the time, because it's never going to represent you, the real you.
You see what happened with Consignia?
Yeah.
It's a bit like that, isn't it?
He says, he makes it clear, he says, I will not be answering to any of my other monikers.
Monica.
Yeah, he uses it, which I like.
He's not going to answer to Monica. Fair enough.
It's the beginning of the end, I think, isn't it, for him?
Someone has texted, 333, Dave, has texted, he did say after that it was a joke and you could call him any of his names.
I don't believe
Well,
that.
even that's like plate spinning, isn't it? There's one of 5 that you could shout out to him now.
I believe when people do embarrassing things, they often say it was a joke.
Right.
That is true.
I think he did it, realised
It's a
he'd made
living
a
though,
fool
innit?
of himself. and his first name is P, which isn't great. So now he thought Love AAK Brother would be better.
But he didn't even arrive at one name.
No.
What?
It's
Brother or Brother Love?
Well, it's either Love or Brother Love. He can't even.
Oh,
He couldn't
okay.
even narrow it down. He'd have been no good on the Spot the Ball panel.
No.
I mean, I suppose it's part of a current trend. It's like, gender fluidity. You don't have to decide finally anymore. You can leave it.
Well,
open.
you do when
Yeah.
50's knocking and she's getting louder. I mean, he's getting on, P. Diddy.
Give it time, he might be Sister Love by the end. You say it. As
Yeah.
you say, that sounds like a nun, though, doesn't
I
it?
think that's the thing, though. You
Yeah.
don't have. That's why Antondex Black or Red didn't work out. People don't want to commit to one thing anymore like that. Also, if you remember, there was a strong theme of devil worship that went
do
right through
remember
the
that.
whole show.
I do remember that. But that is
Very
not why
strange.
they're in the news.
Well,
Would
we
you-
don't know, do we?
Would
Don't
you,
know. That's how it began.
would you change your name from Alan then?
I would have liked to, but now I feel like it's too late. Entrenched in it, Alan.
I think so.
I think that the nearest to changing it now would be just allowing people to call me Al, as they say.
Okay.
And I do allow that on
Okay.
occasion.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have changed it early on. I should have done, really.
I changed mine, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a long period when I considered changing my name professionally early on in the early days to Wes Bromwich.
Where's
I'm
Bromwich?
so glad
Now,
you didn't do that.
Surely that wouldn't have worked out for me, would it?
Oh,
That would
wow.
have been awful.
Can you imagine
So
on the
we would
trailers
now
for
be
this?
on the
They
Wes...
call him
Oh.
Wes Bromwich. I mean, you just couldn't.
I would have been
That-
so ashamed of you.
I don't think. What's in a name, but I think it would have held me back.
You think so? Well, I was going to change mine to Wes Yorkshire, so it would have...
Very good.
it would have been a real nightmare as both working together.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've had something of a correct show, haven't we, in Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
584 has texted, Hi Frank, sorry to burst your bubble, but Mr. Piddy Diddy backtracked on the new name 4 days ago, blaming alcohol.
So he's still P. Diddy.
He's still P. Diddy, apparently.
Thank goodness for that.
But I like the fact that he's blaming alcohol. Apparently he doesn't seem drunk in the thing, but I think he might just be blaming alcohol as a general trend. Perhaps like you, he's prohibition now. I don't know.
I hope so. I should think it's with those white round neck jumpers.
You in
drinking.
the white round neck jumper.
That's how I always picture P.
You're-
Diddy.
He does like a white round
He
neck.
just likes white clothes generally.
The texter also added, enjoy your almonds, but I can't really say almonds. Is it almond?
Almonds, I'd
Almonds.
say.
I always
He
go with the L.
likes a big. He likes a big coat as well. He likes a big Conor McGregor bear
Oh,
coat.
nice.
He
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
a big coat, yeah. He'd love a... it's a Patrick Troughton Yeti coat. That's what he favours.
Can we discuss another rapper? We've got 2 rappers this morning I want to talk about. I would like to talk about Drake, Drizzle. Are you familiar with the work of Drake? I know where the hotline bling.
I think...
not.
what did he twerk?
No, Diddy's the other one.
Did he twerk with Rihanna at the Brits once?
Yes,
Did he?
Frank.
I was there that night.
Good knowledge.
Oh.
Good knowledge.
Thank you. I
More
remember
I
it.
love this clapping.
I remember thinking of it as a very low-key conga.
Yes. I believe.
Office conga.
They can't conga like they used to, the young people.
No.
Millennials can't conga, Frank.
No, they can't conga. They don't even know the middle eight. Da, na, 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 na.
Instead, they're going, you used to call me on my cell phone. Anyway, he's Canadian.
Is it? I did not know that.
Yeah, so that
Go
means
on,
that
Gary,
means
he's
at
gone
least 30%
Every-
brighter, generally.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah.
I think so. And he has announced, it's one of my favourite things a human being has ever announced, which is that he collects Birkin bags. Which
Come
I
on,
should
watch your language. It's right up there with Tontin Homo Sheriff, isn't it? Birkin bags. It just sounds like someone who wants to swear but is not doing it.
Yes.
And he said they retail between, I'd say, 15k to 300k.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Bottom end is 15 grand. Dollars.
Yeah.
Not like lira or
Well, they're
any
about the
one of
same
those
these days, aren't
currencies that's terrible.
They're about the same. But the best thing about... So he says in case he meets a nice lady and she wants a Birkin, he wants a collection for her.
Oh, I see. It's a bit like when anglers put down ground bait,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
to bring the fish in a bit closer and then you pick the one you want.
Ah.
If you don't pick the one you want, that's ridiculous.
Frank, the best thing about the bags is that they're the only bag that I know of that has its own spa treatment. You can send a Birkin off to Hermes and they will give it a little 3-day spa treatment.
The bag?
Yeah. They recondition it, they
that?
look
Is this
after it
made up?
lovingly. No,
Oh,
this is
so
absolutely true.
is
And then
it-
they send it back to you.
So this is what they mean by a bag for life.
Yeah, yeah.
You just keep it
Slightly
and look
different.
after it.
Yeah.
So it'll
So it's
last
not-
forever.
Is
Yeah.
it like a bag version of a pet, like a Tamagotchi or something?
A
Is that
little
what we-
bit, yeah.
That's amazing. That is
And it's
amazing.
named after Jane.
Jane Birkin.
Why is it named after her?
There's a long story, but she was on a plane and she met the Ed of Hermes.
I get the gist.
Okay, she met the Ed of Hermes and she complained about her bag and he said, I'll make one for you. And there you go.
Oh, right. Right.
Victoria Beckham has over 100.
She was the partner of one of my favourite musical artists, Serge Gainsbourg.
Oh, yes.
And she was the one who
Yes.
did a lot of giggling and breathing on the Je t'aime
Oh,
mais
yeah.
non plus.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's
It's
good
great,
knowledge as
lovely.
well.
I've seen her live. She still performs now and again.
But what do you think about the anticipatory purchase? I mean, he hasn't got a girlfriend, I don't think.
Well, I've
Wow,
always
yeah.
said, that old saying, what's good for the Drake is good for the... what is
Mrs.
a
Drake?
female? What's a female duck called?
Oh,
Mandrake.
No, it wouldn't be a mandrake, it'd be a woman drake.
very good.
A drake is a male duck. There must be a name for a female duck. Hen duck. I was looking. I read up about these bags
Did you?
because I wanted to know.
You better clear your history before Kath sees it.
I wanted to know if they were named after Jane Birkin because I thought that was a bit of a coincidence. And it had a list of it's a who's who of famous females who favour the Birkin bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Victoria Beckham,
She's got 100.
J-Lo,
100 of them.
Jennifer Lopez, or Jennifer Love Pez, as she's called now, named after her extensive Pez dispenser collection.
Oh,
What
yeah.
if his future lady...
No, she's got over 2,000 Pez dispensers, Jennifer Lopez. Some real obscure ones. Dolly the Sheep. She's got Chemical Alley.
No way.
Yeah,
Very collectible.
immensely. Sorry, you were saying?
I was just going to say, what if his lady is his future lady, who he just hasn't met her yet? She likes a Birkenstock and a rucksack
Right, not into bags.
and a ramble.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
not-
not into the Birkin.
They're not
What
gonna-
will he do then?
They're not going to get on, are they?
He needs a bag lady. Whatever happened to bag ladies?
What if she's a
Yeah.
What if she's a Clutch fan?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, but I don't have an answer for it. I think what he'll do is put them in storage in
Oh,
case
yeah.
the wedding does. Because the chance of a man as famous as Drake,
Yeah.
who even I've heard of, having one marriage is pretty slim. Let's face it.
Yeah.
So, and I should think that they'll gain. Well,
Value.
it would be like
Oh, yeah.
lying down wine, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Putting Birkin bags in a cupboard somewhere.
I
Well,
think
Frank,
so.
the great thing about the Birkin is that it's like buying art. I mean, they go up in value. There you go.
Perfect.
It's a funny old world, isn't it? Speaking of optimistic purchases,
Yeah.
I recently bought a 5-year diary.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Turns out unwittingly, I was living my life a lot like Drake before I met my wife. I mean, I hadn't amassed hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of Birkin bags, but I did have a drawer full of carrier bags at the time.
Oh, yeah, I've got a drawer full of carrier
Yeah.
bags. I think every home
Well, that's
should.
very.
Oh, really? You don't think that's something that
That's
a
really hot.
future wife would be excited by?
I love going round to a man's house and suddenly all the carrier bags for life fall out of the cupboard.
I'm excited when I go into the carrier bag drawer, because sometimes you think, it's got those sort of flimsy orange Sainsbury type ones,
Yeah.
and you take one of those out. If you go a bit deeper,
Oh, often there's
sometimes
a-
you find like a Hanley's, quite heavy
Right,
duty
yeah,
and a bit
good
bigger.
thick one, yeah.
What
Excellent.
about those?
Like a canvas one or a
about the-
Hessian.
Would you reuse one of those paper ones with the string handles that you might get from a nice shop?
Oh,
Well, it depends how nice the shop is.
Okay.
A really nice shop, hell yeah.
what, like Lidl?
No,
Well,
like
the trouble
certain
is
bags.
I
one
carry
keeps
a lot
forever.
of unwrapped offal,
Right.
so a paper bag doesn't really work.
No.
Do you
for
have
me.
a designated bag drawer?
Yes,
Okay.
and it's slightly there's slightly too many in. So when you open
Yeah.
the door, they spring up a little.
Oh, nice feeling.
Oh,
We've
but it's-
actually gone past that stage. We've now had to have a bag and just put it on a hook on the back of a door.
Well,
Just for
I might
outfit.
adopt that. I currently keep it in with all Raymond, my puppy's accoutrement,
All right, yeah.
but it's getting crowded in there.
Well, I always felt that if you wanted to know if somebody was working class, the test was that they had a bucket in their bedroom for using in the night.
All right. yeah.
So I grew up with that.
Oh, I passed that test then.
But then,
Everyone else passed that test?
Yeah, I
then-
passed that
but
test.
then
yeah.
now everyone all the council houses got modernised and they're inside toilets, so that's sort of
Right.
disappeared. Now my test is the recycled JD sports bag.
Right.
I think
Oh,
then
yes.
somebody
Yep.
is they're from the
I'm afraid
street, man.
afraid I failed that test then.
Have you got one of those?
I've got one of those,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure of it.
Fair enough. They're a nice thing.
Frank, I'm sorry to
I've
interrupt.
got some for my future wife. On the off chance that her initials will be JD and she'll think they've been monogrammed. Do you know JD Sports? No, but thanks for the tip.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a tweet in. Sorry, Al. I was just
go
going
on.
to say Grant has been in touch to say, can you explain the thanks for the tip joke? I am lost every time. Praise redacted.
Okay, well, thanks for the tip. Originally came from a sort of musical joke, which is, do you know my sister May? No, but thanks for the tip.
Right.
Yeah.
And the idea is that his sister May
Dot.
indulge in some sort of frivolity.
Yes.
Thanks for the tip. But I would say we've picked that up and run with it. On
Pretty
this
much
show.
every show.
I recently dropped one on a few friends. It was we were talking about. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff about the Russian Revolution on, this, recently, which I've loved.
It's so nice for you,
Big
Frank.
fan of the
I always
Russian
think of you with that.
And somebody said, There was something about if they've read Das Kapital, and they said, "Do you know Karl Marx?" And I said, "No, but thanks for the tip."
Right.
Now, that gets a big laugh in the S&M community. They're not sure about we have nothing to lose but our chains.
Yeah.
But so they all work. But yeah, there's many of them, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other examples.
Do you know Samuel Pepys?
Do you know Samuel Pepys? No, but thanks for the tip. Exactly.
Draw the curtains. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's there's lots of stuff. But so go away and enjoy. Go and make some up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God bless you.
I think we should move back to the news because there's been some Queen cracks a joke news.
Royal family does ordinary things.
Yeah.
yeah, the section of the show.
That's the whole. The royal family does something mundane. It's a big story.
But I don't think she cracks many jokes because it has
No.
made the papers.
Well, we don't know that.
Well,
She's with her
it
sidekick.
might have made the papers more frequently had she done it more often. I think she was with Sir David Attenborough, the nature documentary guy.
I've heard of him.
I'm gonna
Both
call him that.
91.
Are they both 91?
Wow.
Yeah.
Snap.
Very cute.
That is cute. That is
Do you
so
think
nice.
one
Cute
of them
couple
said
alert.
snap?
Cute couple of that.
Yeah. Ship goals.
Oh, it sounds a bit like, you know, that very disappointing week on Blind Date when they had the old people.
Oh, I always turned it off when that happened.
Oh,
now
no,
I'd be
you-
in that
I mean,
category,
you
Frank.
Oh,
I mean,
you
isn't
know
that
we'll
depressing?
get texts from people saying this is ageist.
No, I know. Well, I can.
Well, it is,
I can
but I'm old,
I
so
think
I can
I'm
say
all
it.
right now.
Those texts
You're
are being
old.
sent from phones with big buttons.
Look, I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened. I'm just saying they should have both been behind the screen.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
So the Queen and Sir David Attenborough were wandering around the gardens at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
They were were they found by anyone? They've been out for 3 days.
They were wandering
They've gone
the
for one of their
grounds.
wonders.
Oh.
And she cracked a joke because he said he was discussing climate change. And he
Keep
said,
it light, Dave.
"Oh, there'll be all different kinds of trees in another 50 years' time," and she said, "I won't be here though."
Yeah. Slam.
You know, she'll be in Honduras with a wheelbarrow,
Yeah.
collecting her interest.
That's her joke that caused Sir David to burst out laughing
Well,
and is newsworthy.
The
everyone.
Daily Mail said that she acknowledged her own mortality. I didn't know there was a dispute about that.
Well, I mean, I have a theory here.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
I think this is a classic double bluff. I think she's secretly discovered immortality and she's doing the old double bluff where now she's going to have to start mentioning it. I reckon she went, "Oh, I won't be here though." And then she walked around and behind a tree drank a pint of yak's blood or something and then came back.
Virgin's blood
Nothing
is
doing
what they,
anything. Yeah.
what they used to have in the Hammer film.
Whatever it is she's up to, she's keeping it a secret from Charles. I reckon she's cracked it.
That'd be one of the great news stories ever.
Be a good double
She
bluff.
made another. She had another of her queenly slams. She pointed at a bent tree and she said, "Is it meant to be like that? Somebody sat on it at a garden party." What do you think of that?
Prince Andrew.
Oh, we once established on this show, we think biggest posterior in the royal family.
Broad in the
Yeah,
beam,
yeah.
Prince Andrew. Apparently the plan is, if there's a revolution, he backs into the main gates of Buckingham Palace and the whole family's safe.
That holds people back.
Yeah, well, it was the bloke in Viz who had a really big behind.
Was it a behind?
Oh, I cannot remember
Oh,
his
was it?
I
name.
think it might have been some other thing.
Oh,
that
was
was
it?
big.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
I've
not
got
sure.
that mixed up.
We'll discuss. Frank, you know what
Yeah.
occurs to me about the Queen? Does she think I'm absolutely hilarious? Everything I say, people laugh.
Really?
I could be a stand-up. She must look at you and Alan and think, well, I could do that. Because people laugh so much at everything I say.
Well, that's like... I've got a few live albums of Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And when he says something, all his backing musicians go, "Oh!" But that's fair enough. You know, he's paying the wages.
Yeah.
I think at 91, my standards would have probably dropped a bit on my gag
I think
material.
you'll be better than... I will be here, though. I like to think you'll be better than that.
I think I'm still occasionally dropping those kind of gags now. I mean, what was the 5-year diary gag if it wasn't that? So we're channeling the same stuff. Can I tell you, in this, I was fascinated by. I don't read the Mail because I don't. It's always about American actresses with surnames for first names.
Yes.
But,
a lot of Taylor going on.
It says that she was dressed in a feminine floral dress.
Oh.
And I thought, as opposed to one of those very butch floral dresses that you see with the Venus flytrap cleavage.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, so, the Queen. Apparently the Queen said to David Attenborough, was it recently that someone tried to stop children playing with conkers?
Yeah.
Just out of the blue.
She said that
She wasn't happy
Yeah.
about that.
She never.
She then
She
said,
did. I
PC Brigade strikes again.
Don't you love that? It's something to look forward to if we're lucky enough to get older, that your conversation ceases to be conversation and becomes like avant-garde poetry. You just say something like that in sort of splendid isolation. I look forward to
I want to know
that.
what his response was. Define recently, Mum. I mean, is
No,
that
he
a
probably
story
went
from
on
7
and
years
on
ago or
about-
7 weeks?
Do you think he went on about conkers and how long they're
probably, yeah.
they're
He would have
silent?
had a
You
lot
know, if
of...
left, they could be trees, that sort of thing.
He's always there with the intel on the natural history and the gardens.
I watched a documentary about Stalin.
Of course you did.
Lovely.
A bloke on its theory was that
nice for
Stalin
Buzz.
was responsible for more deaths than any other human being.
Twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. But he did mention in an aside that the most televised deaths, David Attenborough. So
Well, did you see Blue Planet? I mean, let's not even go there.
I didn't see.
I'm traumatised.
I haven't seen it. I was watching a documentary about stag parties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Margate.
You do watch a lot, don't you?
It was called Blue Thanet. Come on,
Tread on.
come on, because they don't just fall out the sky. Those kind of gags. Bring on the feathers and have a lovely week. God bless you.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.